Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the thing. Your thing, my thing, the thing. All of our things. How good is this thing? What are his abilities? What the energy related to those abilities are, his stats, and some of his T4 stuff. Basically, his character review, pretty typical, but I like to kind of look at stats and some other things and kind of gauge where I really feel about the tune after looking at those. Sometimes it can be hard to determine whether you want to invest in someone or not. And, obviously Invisible Woman's not in the game, but Fantastic Four does seem like it's going to be a good team. So I think it's important to kind of look at these tunes now, at least to start. And then if anything dramatic changes, we can kind of go from there. But let's get into it. All right, so we're on my thing here. So you can see he's gigantic, twice the size of Hulk. That's for you, Valley. Hero Cosmic, Bio Brawler, Fantastic Four, and then obviously currently Marvel 80th. So I've got mine at tier 10, level 65, mainly because I think this team's gonna be pretty solid. So I'm just making sure I get my gold milestones in now. So let's look at his abilities real quick. And again, his abilities are all just about damage. That's it. So when we get to the stat part about his damage, it's going to be important to look at. But everything I'm about to show you for essentially all his abilities is just how hard he hits and how much he hits. Okay. So the basic, it gets to 300%, and then the T4 gets another 50% on top of it. We'll talk about that in the T4s. His special is attack primary for 240, bonus attack 1 to 2 times plus, or let me say that differently, a bonus attack from 1 to 2 times for an additional 180% damage. The T4 ability is additional 40% and then guaranteed 2 times. 3 energy on this one, so you can in theory use this one often, but his speed is obviously pretty slow, so that's something to factor in for sure on this. Haymaker's ultimate, again, just more damage. It comes fully charged, 5 energy, 490% damage, additional 60 on the T4s. His passive, it's pretty basic. When he gets attacked, he attacks that target for an additional 125%, some additional armor for himself and the Fantastic Four / Namor. The T4 is when he gets attacked, he's some additional damage and then some additional armor for the team. So he's pretty basic, pretty simple. It's I think the simplest character in the game that I can recall, outside of a minion, but he's basically just attacking folks. So that makes it pretty easy to kind of understand him. So it's really about where his stats are, how his T4 abilities rank, his like I said, his abilities come fully charged. Again, when we look at his speed, it is slower, so we got to factor that in. And as far as how much he's attacking, we'll see if Sue Storm has some sort of speed up for him. That'll obviously make his, some of his ability T4s a little bit more potentially essential. But that's it as far as abilities. So let's jump right into the stats. Okay, so we're on the stats. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, basically I have a spreadsheet where I enter all of the raw data stats from msf.gg. Health, damage, focus, resistance, etc., etc. And then I rank them. And then I use those rankings to kind of overall rank the character. If either average rank in all those different stats, averages out to 20th best or 20th ranked. And then the characters are ranked from there. So anyway, we're talking about the thing. The way this spreadsheet is sorted right now is overall average rank. So that's this column over here. And again, it just averages all the ranks across the board. So you can see the rank of the characters. And the one we're talking about right now, Thing, actually comes in as 4th. So I'm really surprised by this. I did not expect him to be ranked this high. These are phenomenal stats. Let's go through one by one to see what is making him so high. First, health. Clearly that makes a ton of sense. He's got a ton of health. 4th ranked highest health in the game. It's what it should be, honestly. He should be that high. Damage, 13th best in the game. That, again, I was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, he's a hard, big hitting rock, so he should be hitting pretty hard. So again, that's awesome, especially given his kit, that it's all about just hitting people. So I'm really happy that Fox Next has a high damage here. Armor, 16th. again, same thing. It should be high. You know, his armor should be on the higher end of things. His focus is actually higher than I think it'd be, but it doesn't really matter for him, at least as far as we can tell before Invisible Woman's in the game. This doesn't matter, but it's 52nd. Resistance is 7th. Again, it should be high. He's a rock, you know, so he should resist essentially everything. So I love that his resistance is high, especially if you haven't seen my video on the speculation of Invisible Woman. Looks like he might be highly targeted with some buffs on him, and it's desirable that those buffs aren't easily removed. So I like seeing his resistance being high. Now, his speed is pretty atrocious. This worries me a little bit and might affect where I finally put his T4 upgrades. But 86, his speed rank is in the bottom, you know, essentially 10 to 15 tunes in the game. So that's pretty bad. And like I mentioned, his overall rankings here, you know, if you're just looking at the, you know, HP damage speed, it's 38th, and it actually increases to the 32nd, 31, 32 average rank for all tunes. But he's the 4th highest ranked character in the game. Dark Phoenix, Ultron, Captain Marvel, then The Thing. So that's huge to me. So, and you can obviously see some of the spoilers we're going to be doing later. So this team is, you know, looking, and here I'll highlight this one from the other day. The team's looking pretty solid so far. So let's get into his T4s. Okay, so in my T4 rankings, if you've never seen these before, basically I rank every single T4 in the game, and the way I do damage is I basically look at the increase that damage is given for using that specific T4 upgrade. So I'm looking at that spot right now. You can see at the bottom here, Things Special comes at rank 2nd as far as the damage increase. His alt comes in ranked 20th. And his basic comes in, it's essentially tied for kind of 37th here. His passive comes in at, and again, it's, you know, it's when countered, but still, its passive comes in at 114. So knowing that, let's look at what we've got here. So his special comes in, you know, right now I've got to decide where I'm going to final place this, but it's an additional 40% damage to primary target and secondary targets, and you guarantee that bonus attack 2 times instead of 1 to 2. So it's a lot of hits for a high percentage. You get it first turn, and there's only 3 energy required. So depending on how long the match goes, he could get to use this a second time. But again, his and I'm using this first turn, so I'm hoping to use it again. And then I'll use his ultimate second turn because you're only using that once in a fight. But his special you might get to use twice. So I'm doing special, ultimate, basic, special. If I did my math right there. So anyway, but I don't know if it'll end up being second rank because of his speed. I might have to put it down. I don't know yet. But right now I've got it top 5. So his next one is his alt. I've got his alt. It looks at like around 27th. His alt is a plus 60% damage increase for 550. It came in ranked, what is that? Like I said, 20th before. I think it's a good T4 upgrade. Again, additional damage. He's a hard-hitting guy, so we'll see how I shake that out. But it's still in the great category. But, you know, it's towards the bottom of it. Depending how hard you want to go in for Fantastic Four will determine whether you want to do that T4 or not. His basic. I've got his basic ranked as good. It's an additional 50% damage. The reason I've got it at good is because it's ranked 37th. So it's a solid upgrade. Again, depending how much you want to invest in these guys and how much you want them to punch up will probably determine whether you're using T4s on that one or not. Okay, and then his passive. So his passive I've currently got ranked in the okay category. This could move up depending what happens with Sue Storm's ultimate that I kind of speculated about in a video the other day. So when attacked is plus 25% damage. That's only ranked 114%. There's additional armor for himself and the Fantastic Four and Namor allies, which is nice. But I want to know how often is he getting attacked before I move this up. If I was right in the speculation that I did with her ultimate and he is somebody who's going to get attacked, I could move this up for sure, because if he's constantly being attacked by people, you kind of want this, again, if you're heavily investing in this team. So those are all the Thing T4s, so let's get kind of to the conclusion of this thing. Okay, so for the conclusion on the Thing, character review, I think his kit does leave a lot to be desired, but given how hard he's hitting, and how potentially, again, depending what Invisible Woman does, and again, see that video for the speculation there, but if he's getting hit a lot, I could see him really being a key part of this team. His stats show that he's at the top 5 in the game as far as stats. His kit, again, is just a damage kit, but his special, which is his hardest hitting one, is on a short cooldown. So I really like the Thing. I wasn't as high on him at first, but I definitely think he's a good character. I would have loved to get more red stars on him for even hitting, having more health, being able to hit harder for that damage. But yeah, I think, don't sleep on him as far as being in the Fantastic Four. Make sure you try to, I mean, obviously it's too late now, but hopefully you got at least 2 to 3 red stars on him when the orbs were available. And, just note that he is a highly ranked stat character in the game, and his T4s seem to be pretty good and worth it. So we'll see how it shakes out when Sue gets into the game, and I hope this helps. I hope it helps you decide whether you want to invest in him and eventually the Fantastic Four, and we'll do a culmination at some point once we know about Sue. But I appreciate you guys stopping by, and as always, please hammer down on that like button, click that subscription button, click the notification bell, share with your friends, make comments below, like, etc., etc. I do these to try to help the community. It's kind of how I look on how I invest in my team, so I hope that it maybe helps you too. So as always, appreciate you guys stopping by, and hope to see you again soon.